Ladies and gentlemen, Hampasan season is back as the PVL returns with the All-Filipino Conference to close out the 2023 season. Now, joining us to break down what to expect in this exciting new chapter of volleyball is PVL analyst Neil the Real Deal Flores. Neil, welcome back.
I missed that. Thank you for having me.
No, I always had to do it. I almost forgot to do it. But this is a bit of a stranger conference for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
New teams, a few new rules, and of course, a few familiar faces won't be seeing action this conference. The press conference has already been had. What were the biggest takeaways from you looking at this entire conference?
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting because number one, the PVL on tour is back. We'll be traveling to the nearby, not so nearby provinces because we felt the love from the Filipino fans all over the country. So that's a treat for everybody, lalo na mataas yung demand. And there will be a couple of changes also in the tournament format. This is the tournament format that we've always wanted. Sanay na tayo na sinisplit yung mga teams to different pools. But now, this conference, lahat magkikita-kita in the preliminary. So that's also one thing na ilo-look forward ng mga fans. And there are also some technical changes in-game na kailangan din abangan ng mga fans natin.
Yes, actually, our competition director, Sharon Malonzo, was here the other day and he was talking about na parang mas bibilis talaga yung pace ng volleyball games sa PVL this conference because of the new rules. Now, we're talking about the fans, you know, lalapit tayo sa kanila with the different locations, but they will also be missing a couple of faces. So let's start off with the Creamline Cool Smashers. Of course, without Gia de Guzman, she's off to Japan. What do you think will her impact be and what can you expect in Creamline as a whole?
Medyo malaking blow talaga yun for the Cool Smashers because Gia has been the standard for setting for the longest time. But they still have Kyle Negrito there. We'll talk about her later on. So I don't think changes will be made ng masyadong drastic for Coach Sherwin Meneses because sistema pa rin yun ng Creamline eh. The next woman will step up and for sure they will still be one of the teams to beat this conference.
You know, two other teams who are missing basically the faces of their franchises, or at least one of the bigger faces of the franchises. Itong F2 Logistics with Kim Kianandi out due to injury, and of course sa Signal, si Rachel Andakis, who surprisingly won't be part of this team. I say surprisingly because it feels like she's been part of every single Signal team for who knows how long. But without these two, what can we expect from both F2 and Signal?
Well, for F2 and Signal, they've acquired youngsters in the past season. I guess the 2-month, 3-month break should have given them time to adjust. The full potential wasn't realized in the previous conference, especially sa mga bata. But these are the pieces na sakto dahil nga the names that you mentioned, Rachel Andakis and KKD, will be out of the fold. So that's also something that needs to change for these teams kung paano sila mag-adapt. It's all about adapting to the new roster this conference.
And you know, speaking of new rosters, Neil, may dalawang teams na papasok, the Next-led Chameleons and the Galleries High Risers. So let's first talk about Next-led. What stood out for you when you saw the roster of this team?
For the Next-led Chameleons, most of their players just came from the Akari Chargers. They've had a couple of additions like the setter in Camille Cal. And for the high-rise galleries, I mean, ito na yung mga players na veterans na. They've been out of the pro scene for quite some time. I'm sure the fundamentals, the basics are still there. But these are technically still two new teams. So I think that we still have to be careful of our expectations because it's not going to be a success naman overnight for new teams.
Yeah, I remember when the Jur 4 Defenders and the Farm Fresh Foxies did start out, may mga birthing pains talaga in terms of their adjustment to the competition. But you take a look, we mentioned a while ago that the league will be going back to the provinces, bringing the volleyball action to all around the Philippines. How big was it, did you feel, of an influence was the fact that some PVL teams actually did go to the provinces in the off-season and the reception was really warm, really amazing for all of our volleyball players?
Kung pwede lang natin dalhin lahat ng teams to these provinces, gagawin natin. But of course, there are limitations. You know, it's always a blockbuster hit every time we go to a province, may it be nearby lang here sa Metro Manila, like Batangas and Antipolo. But now we'll be going to CDO and Iloilo, and they've always loved volleyball there. So sure ako sold out din agad yung mga venues natin sa mga
100%.
provinces.
And you can see Neil there sa mga venues na yun. Like, I'm sure we're gonna have Neil go around the Philippines as well.
Yes, of course. I'm sure that's on his schedule already. Pero let's talk about the Sunday game though, because that is the opening game day, and we've got the battle of the sister teams. So you have Chocomucho and Creamline, you've got Signal and PLDT, and then you've got another team as well. So Neil, what are you most excited about in those three like triple headers happening on Sunday?
Well, that is our marquee match, di ba?
Yeah.
Opening
Yes.
day. Ang tagal natin nawala eh. So
Yep.
I think it's only right that we pit Chocomucho and Creamline agad-agad ng day one. I heard that Araneta is already sold out.
Oh,
People are
wow.
having a difficult time in buying tickets. But in terms of game analytics, I am very excited to see Dina Wong match up against Kyle Negrito. That will be a change of play style because we've always seen her go up against her ate and Gia Morado de Guzman. But now, Kyle Negrito will be the first setter or the starting setter for Creamline. So let's see how they will fare. I've seen their training videos on social media, mas under the radar itong Creamline.
Yeah.
Because they also have two new setters in Mafi Galanze and Bonafe. So tingnan natin kung ano mangyayari.
Yes,
Yeah.
kaka-reveal lang nun. Actually,
Yeah.
that got me super excited. And grabe, sold out na talaga. Like, they just released the tickets like a day ago, tapos sold out agad.
I think that's a bit expected. Masasold out talaga. But you take a look, it's been such a long break. Can you describe the anticipation and the wait before we start this next conference?
You know that it's back to regular programming pag nandyan yung PVL. So, you just have to watch out for the action.
Can't wait for that, Neil.